Hello everyone, this is H to the Husky here, and I'm going to be casting a 1 versus 1. This time it is once again from the MLG tournament that recently took place. It is going to be the red Protoss spawning over here in the top right side-ish side, known as Socke, and his opponent is going to be Liquid Jinro. We're just going to be calling him Jinro though. Over on the center left side as the blue Terran. Now, I do want to clarify really quickly, I actually asked Socke how to say his name at the MLG that I was at, and he said it, and it was really confusing, and I do apologize that I don't know the correct way of saying it. I'm just going to call him Socke, but there's some weird way of saying it that you would never expect, just being a stupid American like myself. And so, I apologize, a lot of people get all mad that I say it wrong, but you know what? I love saying people's names wrong. My name is Mike, and if I could find a way to say Mike incorrectly, like Mickey, then I totally would do it. Now, this was one of the replays I was sent to my huskyreplays@gmail.com. I really appreciate you guys sending me high-level replays to that account. I do check out some of the lower-level replays you guys send as well, but when I'm looking for replays to cast, that is the very first place I go to. So if you ever stumble across new high-level replays and they just gotta be cast, then please send them there, because I do look through that email address quite often, and we're filling up my 7 gigs or whatever it is on Gmail really quickly because people do send a lot of replays there. It is pretty gosh darn cool. So the map is Metalopolis, and they are spawning at different, at opposite positions here. So as far as the game length goes, this is about as long as it can get. I'm not sure if the center right side rush distance to the center left side is longer than the top center to the bottom center. However, they are very far apart. And why am I looking at this base? There's nothing at this base. So here we have the invisible Zerg player playing. You can not see that he is opening with a 6 pool. I just know that because he told me before the game. Anyways, it does look like Jinro did get his gas out. Standard timing here on that barracks, and he is going to be getting that orbital command at that 16 supply. This is the de facto opener for you Terran players out there if you're super new. Basically what you do is you get your supply depot, then you get your barracks. While your barracks is building, you get your gas, and then at 16 supply, you get your orbital command, and that's basically the Terran opener. And I do like how Jinro is putting the supply depot down here. It can kind of confuse your opponent a little bit, and as the game goes on, there's not going to be any sneaky shenanigans going on over here if you keep an eye on it. And so that is one thing, because like a Protoss, what they'll do a lot of times is put a proxy pylon here, warp in, you know, some DTs or some zealots or just something just to make you mad. And so good to put that second supply depot there. And really, I prefer Terran players who wall in against Protoss. So as a Terran player, I would prefer not to wall in against Protoss, just because it makes breaking their entrance with Void Rays so much easier. And so Jinro is not going to be walling in whatsoever, but I can't say I blame him. The more that I play Terran, the more I love Terrans that actually do wall in. And he is going to be getting that early expansion. It looks like Socke does have a Zealot out. He should get his stock right here. Got to be able to trap this SCV. He should be able to kill this no problem, unless he completely buggers up the micro, which he did just a tiny bit there. Wants to make sure this SCV does not get away. It's got to try and do the smoke screen trick, but it is not going to work. That's something that players were doing where you kind of trick the AI in that little corner there. So Socke was able to kill that scouting worker, and this probe is looking to try and scout up into the main. He is not going to be able to, though, but he's just kind of sitting out here seeing if there's going to be an expansion. Although with the Marauder and Marine out, it does look like this probe is going to go down. I think anyways. Maybe he can escape out of there. They're pretty fast, man. They're on rollerblades, and it looks like he's going to skate, do an ollie up over the ramp, and do a backflip. I don't know if he can do a backflip on skates, and then he is going to get away. I guess you could, man, but that would be so dangerous. Do not try the tricks I mentioned at home. They do not make you look cool. They just make you look like you're in pain as you're getting wheeled off to the hospital. So we do actually have a delayed Reaper on the way. I really like to do this as Terran, and there is going to be Stim Pack. Imagine if Reapers had Stim Pack. Oh my god, I would hate my life. They would kill workers so fast. So this delayed Reaper, especially on this map, I just think is so powerful, because number one, this probe, his days are done. Oh, unless he can get away. I don't know if he can. I don't think he can. No, he did go down. But I really like delayed Reaper on this map because you can easily secure either watchtower, and it's not very difficult to actually secure both of them. You can kind of just patrol back between them and see what's going on there. Plus, you can scout down here. You can see their expansion timing. I really like delayed Reaper on this map. I think a lot of players definitely underutilize it. So it does look like now there is going to be 3 gateways and a robotics facility on the way. The only reason he's getting that third robotics is, or the third gateway rather, is because this expansion is going to be done in time, and so he will be able to afford to produce from all these quite easily. Transferring a ton of workers down here, although this Reaper looks like it may get taken out here. It's very low on HP, and Boom goes the Reaper. He explodes and falls apart. He has definitely seen better days, and that Reaper didn't do as much as I thought it did. I'm really surprised he actually decided to be aggressive there, simply because you can just sit this watchtower all day, and, you know, vision is a resource in StarCraft 2. A lot of people don't realize that, but it really is if you think about it. And so the more vision you have, the better off you are. Now, there should be, I would assume, an observer coming out of this robotics. There we go. His macro is so good. He has, like, less than 100 minerals and gas. And so he does have the Observer on the way. A lot of times you will Chrono Boost out the Observer just to get it out as quickly as possible, because your opponent can do so many different things that you need to be prepared for them. And it looks like right now he is going to go that 3 racks, which that will kind of be scouted by this probe right here at the watchtower. He'll see the numbers of units here and kind of realize what his opponent's doing. I don't know if Socke has actually scouted this expansion. He does not know there's an expansion there. He may know in the back of his mind, though, the kind of play style that that Jinro is known for. And so there is going to be the 3 racks right now with the factory on the way. So a timing push here won't be that effective from Jinro. He's probably going to use these units to defend as best he can. The Observer is going to scout that high yield expansion. Oddly enough, though, he is not flying that to the main base quite yet. He needs to know that there is a natural taken as well, and that this isn't just a desperation catch-up move by Jinro. And so there is 1 Immortal just now spawning, so this could give Socke the encouragement he needs to push out. These guys are actually going to stand to try and get away. They do get away there. Socke not able to trap any units except for 1 lonely Marine. He died alone and without any friends, but he did force the stem on those units, which is going to make defending this location much more difficult. I do believe that this is going to have to be canceled. I can't imagine what he can do to hold it off, although he could reinforce it, which is exactly what he did. But really, Socke was able to delay the command center already. There is no SCV making this right now. Could get some force fields on the ramp. There is not enough energy, it looks like, on top of these sentries to throw down the force fields there. Wasn't able to trap any units right there. I said not enough energy on top of these sentries, which doesn't make sense. But I still felt like saying that anyways. And so he did delay that high yield expansion, and he is forcing Jinro. Oh, I thought these were bunkers, but they are barracks. And so he is just going to start macroing off of these 2 bases instead of that 3. Really, that was just kind of I'm going to see if I can get an I win button here, and by taking this high yield before anything else kicks in for my opponent. And it didn't quite work out, but Socke shouldn't be in that bad shape. I mean, he should, yeah, he is in actually really, really good shape right now. It's like he's been working out for the last 2 years and runs a 2-minute mile. That's how good of shape he is in, as he is just way ahead in the units lost tab in a good way. So delaying that expansion and then killing the expansion really is going to pay off. So he is going to be getting out the robotics bay. Got to get some good old Colossus, which his opponent is going to have to transition into Vikings, which is why he has landed the starport onto the reactor. Wants to make sure to have at least 4 Vikings before this push comes out from Socke, although he currently is not making Vikings. That's really what he needs to be spending his money on right now, as getting out those Vikings will counter those Colossus very, very effectively, although Socke is getting his expansion down in the bottom right side as well. So his expansion is going to be, is that slightly ahead, or it is about the same timing there. And Jinro is, yeah, he's securing his own expansion at the exact same time. So both these players do have the timings down pretty good in their heads. Wants to make sure to keep that Observer alive, which so far he is doing a good job of, although Jinro's still not making any Vikings. And there we go. He's actually going to get some medevacs out. So the one thing he'll have to look out for is going to be these Colossus. The Thermal Lance upgrade is done. Another Colossus has begun. Would not be surprised to see Chrono Boost use on those Colossus, although he is very, very low on energy from those Nexus. It looks like some Stalkers over here could be killing a medevac! Oh my god! About to have an aneurysm there. A medevac with 3 Marauders and 2 Marines. Only 20 HP remains. These guys are a bit shooken up. And they're all shook up after that drop that almost got intercepted. So that could play a huge role in not being able to kill that drop, as this medevac is going to run home scurred. And I like how he unloaded the units, because that medevac is like 1 or 2 shots away from death. Does expansion, looks like it could be on lockdown. Oh, cancels it! Even though it looked like the building was complete, it was not. The army completely out of position to deal with that. And there is now a Viking on the way, as well as another medevac. So he's just going to make a couple of Vikings at a time, or individual Vikings at a time, rather. So he will only have a couple by the time Socke pushes out. And so can Socke utilize this advantage? I would say he does have an advantage because of the Colossus and the fact there is very few Vikings to deal with it. So if he pushes out once he has 3 Colossus, which should be right about now, then I think it could be a very effective attack. However, these Marines and Marauders are going to have enough medevacs to start healing them up to full, and so those stems he did force not going to be that effective anymore, as he was able to get out enough medevacs. Now the Observer, he has been able to keep this alive. This is a huge deal in Protoss versus Terran, is to keep that Observer alive, and it does look like upgrades are on the way for the Terran player, although they have not completed. Socke, however, just starting his own upgrade, and it has just barely started, but there is going to be a Ghost on the way, which means EMP, as well as the Planetary Fortress up here at this expansion, which is it's always an interesting thing to me to see when players, if they decide to get the Planetary Fortress at this base, or if they plan to go for the Orbital, but it is, of course, a little bit more difficult to defend. Usually you'll see a Planetary Fortress at this one for obvious reasons, but he is playing it safe over here on the top left side, and it looks like it drops trying to go down over here, not able to do anything that effective, and he lost the medevac. And so those units are falling to their death out of that medevac. Now this expansion is trying to get up once again. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it up though, because it has been delayed once already, which means that his economy is definitely going to be behind his opponent. That is why the 1,800 minerals to the 1,600 is what we're witnessing right now, although there are so many Colossus, 5 Colossus on the field, and there's only 3 Vikings. Now this is really, really bad news for Jinro, although he does have a group of units once again moving down here, and he's only going to branch off a couple of units to actually lock this down. 4 Stalkers are going to morph into kill this one Marine, 3 Stalkers and 2 Zealots rather. So Socke should be able to hold this off. Now Socke really needs to make something happen here because he's going to be behind in expansion. At least the expansion timing is fairly favoring Jinro. Now it's getting too hot, says the Ghost, as he is literally on fire. And so able to kill that Ghost, that is a huge deal. Did the EMP do as much as it needed to? Doesn't look like he got the entire army, but he did get actually just a little chunk of it there. And he was able to secure this expansion down here. There's random supply depot down here, and a lot of these units did get taken out. So now Socke is in really, really good shape. He's got to be putting the hurt on. Wants to make sure to outrange this Planetary Fortress. The SCVs are going to turn around and start repairing it. However, they should be mining instead, which is why the positioning of these Colossus is so important right now. He needs to make sure that he does not get in range of the Planetary Fortress, but he says, screw it, I'm going to try and force it down. These Stalkers, though, need to be shooting the Vikings, and the Vikings are now focusing down the Colossus. There are enough Vikings here to make these Colossus very, very fragile, although this army is just massive, macroing like crazy from Jinro, able to do a clean sweep. I feel like I'm watching Supermarket Sweep here as he just walked out with the grand prize, which is killing your opponent's entire army. Wow, that was crazy good macro there. Look at the units lost, 6,000 for Jinro, 8,200 there for Socke, and Socke is now just getting his own expansion. It is not even fully saturated there whatsoever, and so I really think he lost his timing window for his attack because the army just got way too massive, and there was just barely enough Vikings to deal with that. So these Vikings able to kill several Colossus each. This Viking got 2 Colossus kills. That's gonna look good on a resume. This Stalker is gonna have to shoot a lot to actually kill all this though. So the advantage is definitely in Jinro's favor right now. After that big battle, his supply is way ahead, although he is going to lose 1 or 2 Vikings here. Every Viking is extremely crucial, although Vikings are so cheap he can afford to replace them very easily. That is why 2 more are just spawning right there, and this army is softened up a little bit, but nothing for him to really be too worried about because his supply is definitely ahead. Now Socke is able to get up his high yield expansion, which could play a crucial role. I just don't know if he has enough production buildings. No, he does not. This is really, really bad. He needs to have at least 4 more gateways down because, look, he just got another expansion as well as his high yield. That's why his resources are going up and up and up because he simply cannot afford to produce quickly enough out of these buildings. So he does have 1 gateway going down, and he really needs more, though, especially once his high yield expansion starts to kick in. And this army is going to get too scary. I don't know if he's going to have enough to deal with it because of that slight macro slippage. And here comes the battle right now. Now, these units are in a perfect position to get splash damage from the Colossus, but what's in a better position is going to be these Vikings, which are just going to chase down these Colossus as they are annihilating them right there. So many Marines and Marauders able to kill this high yield expansion. This expansion will never kick in, and all of these probes have a long, dangerous trek home as these units were intercepted there and able to kill a lot of them off. And so now these Vikings, they're definitely paying for themselves, man. He got them a little bit late, but you know what? It was enough to do the job and get the job done. So he even has a Ghost over here once again for EMP. Socke does not have charge or blink on his Stalkers and Zealots, and there's just not going to be enough. 2 Colossus are going to spawn here at the last second to try and deal with this. But here comes the one big last battle. It does look like the EMPs are going to be enough here. Microing his Marines and Marauders forward, forward, forward to kill his entire army. It does look like Socke is going to get eliminated in game number 1. So he GG's out of this game as we watch this electricity just zapping all over the place. I love how the animations of those don't stop, but everything else does. That it looks like an Archon, but do not be fooled. That is a dying Protoss unit. So we are going to go ahead and go on to game number 2 between Socke and Jinro. So here we go. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.